Let's begin. Good evening. I warmly welcome you all to our meeting. My name is Marek Marczenko, and I am a partner at Lava Vitae. Today, I would like to say a few words about health, about our digestive system, and about strengthening our bodies, especially now in the autumn. So I invite you to sit back comfortably, grab something to drink, and I invite you on a journey toward health. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Marek Marczenko, and I just turned 58 years old this August. Ladies and gentlemen, none of this would have happened if not for a certain discovery I made thanks to Peter Winkler, namely the products that I would like to tell you about today as at 58 years old, I am able to swim 10 kilometers in open water, ride a bike for over 200 kilometers, play tennis for hours, or take part in all kinds of mountain hikes. And I truly owe all of this remarkable achievement to the undeniable fact that my physical body today has genuinely retained as much vital energy and robust strength as it once possessed when I was in my vibrant 20s or even my thriving 30s. I would like to share all of this with you today, and that's why I invite everyone, including those who have just joined us, to listen about certain solutions, and I am happy to share these solutions that I have for you. Ladies and gentlemen, we received our lives at the moment of conception thanks to the love of our parents. We received it only once. Just like our health, we received it only once. That is why it is so important for us to take care of it skillfully, to know how to do it, especially in this information noise that surrounds us everywhere. We see how many different kinds of medicines are advertised on television and on the radio. We keep hearing about new medicines all the time. And today, I would like to show you how you can reduce the number of all kinds of products you take and limit it to just a few, which will actually provide us with what we are unable to supply to our bodies ourselves, simply because many things are missing from our food, from what we eat. We no longer have what we used to have. And whether it involves a volcano or not, the important thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that we understand one thing. We only have one life and one health, and it is up to us to take our lives and our health into our own hands, rather than waiting for someone else to do it for us. No one else will do it for us, that's for sure, and when it comes down to it, believe me, there are lines. Hundreds, thousands of people waiting to be admitted and to be treated, at least to be treated normally as patients or clients. Today, I had the chance to have lunch with my mom at a restaurant, and let me tell you, I overheard a table where 5 women, probably between 65 and 70 years old, were sitting, and I was quite surprised that the only topic of conversation was talking about various illnesses, about precisely how one individual or another managed to successfully get on the list much faster, how much it hurts. In fact, the conversation was only about illnesses, and I'm glad that you are here with us today because it shows that you want to do something for yourselves. You want to change something in your life or introduce something new so that not just talk about illnesses, but above all talk about quality of life, about longevity, about the fact that our bodies were given to us as tools for traveling through this world. And the better these bodies function, the more pleasant, lighter, and more beautiful this journey will be. That's why it's so important that we take care of ourselves. Surely many of us have had a headache at some point, or a stomachache, or aches in our bones or joints. Or have we heard that someone in our family has thyroid problems like Hashimoto's, or many other issues? Do they have diabetes? Are they overweight? And this meeting today is precisely for those people who are looking for solutions. Once again, I warmly invite you all. What is the cause of many of these conditions? Well, today as Poles, we consume too many medications and supplements. Moreover, it is important to note that this slide doesn't really require any extensive or in-depth discussion, because each and every one of us is profoundly well aware that we currently live in challenging times when we are constantly and continuously exposed to all sorts of various factors from every conceivable direction, which directly and significantly affect our overall health and well-being. And now it is critically important that through the comprehensive knowledge and understanding we possess, we adequately prepare ourselves for the complex world and environment around us, to make us resilient to the world around us and to do something so that the food we still eat somewhere in a rush on the go actually gives us energy for life, for survival, and provides us with those essential nutrients. We talk about nutrients, but when it comes down to it, and I also talk to my clients who come to me for advice, I ask a question like, okay, but I eat healthily, but what does healthy eating mean to you? What is healthy eating for you personally? What is it exactly? And this is where they start to hesitate. Not everyone is able to answer. The most important thing, ladies and gentlemen, is the nutritional value in the food we have. What can we call nutritional values? So that it is rich in vitamins that we are able to absorb, meaning a fresh product rich in those vitamins that it contains. Minerals in the food that we eat. And here is already a problem, because there are very, I'd even say much too few minerals in today's food compared to what our parents ate, and it's incomparable to what our grandparents and great-grandparents ate. That's why today we'll talk a lot about this topic. All these factors that we've just briefly discussed lead to what's called saturation. In other words, the principle of the overflowing barrel. We can compare this barrel to our body, we can compare this barrel to our cells, our body, from which our organs and tissues are made up. The whole body is made up of cells, and it works on exactly the same principle. Every living cell on our planet operates on the principle of receiving, utilizing what we've delivered to the cell, and removing from its interior. So what we deliver, how we process it, and how our cell gets rid of it, or to go further, how our body does this, is what we call the so-called flow equilibrium. And the more this flow equilibrium is maintained, the better it is, the better our health will be. And today we will talk a lot about this topic, and that's why this barrel partly symbolizes our cell, but it also partly symbolizes our entire body. And let me tell you, there are many very valuable, very good products on the market that could provide us with minerals and vitamins in various ways, but we are not able to fill a barrel that is already full. And that's why it's so important in all of this to, at the same time, make sure that our internal organ finds a sufficient bit of space to properly absorb what we have provided it, while also effectively removing what our body truly does not need. And only then are we able to activate those mechanisms in our cells that allow us to deliver nutrients to our body. What does this look like? Most often it looks like this. The majority of our bodies today on the planet are simply toxic. They are acidified. The cells in our body, you could say, encapsulate themselves, isolating from the extracellular matrix, from what surrounds them, because they're afraid that some Trojan horse or some contaminants might get into our cells, which could suddenly... The biochemical mechanisms that take place in the cells, over 500 billion of them per second, won't be disrupted. So, referring even to the research of Dr. Alexis Carrel, we could compare it to the fact that a cell that lacks the ability to cleanse itself will live shorter, even if we provide it with the best nutrition. And a cell that didn't receive any nutrition at all actually survived longer than the one that couldn't cleanse itself freely. That's it in a nutshell. That's why our bodies have learned to survive in various situations that have occurred on our planet, above all hunger, but also volcanic eruptions and pollution. Our bodies have adapted to this. And here I should also mention something else at this moment, one more thing. Unfortunately, there is one thing our bodies have not adapted to. We have not evolved to handle an excess of food consumption. And this is the biggest problem today, that whenever we feel like it, we just have a nut. So we feel like it, so we have a cookie. We feel like it, so we have a sausage. We feel like it, so we have a potato. We feel like it, so we have some meat. And it goes on like this without restraint, and then we even have dessert. And here often, this very excess of food, which the body is unable to handle, is the result of many factors. Among other things, one of these factors is that our food contains few of the nutrients our body needs and too many things that it later cannot handle. And it's important that this is compensated with minerals, because it's thanks to minerals that our body is able to produce what it needs. So to speak, the intricate biochemical reactions that allow it to effectively remove many harmful toxins from the body. It is truly able to produce a much greater and more substantial amount of essential enzymes and powerful acids, which, for example, within the stomach, are absolutely crucial and fundamentally essential for us to be able to properly process and thoroughly digest the food we consume. And today, I would like to tell you a little more about this. Ladies and gentlemen, this situation leads to problems with the intestines. Has anyone ever had a stomachache? May I ask a question? Does anyone know someone in their family who has had thyroid problems? Has anyone ever had a headache? Does anyone know someone who is overweight today? What about joint pain? Or high blood pressure? Or even problems with sleep? And I could go on like this, of course. Someone might say to me, Mr. Marek, but what do minerals have to do with sleep? Or what do minerals have to do with headaches? Ladies and gentlemen, let me put it briefly, really, because today I promise to give you a few tips. So notice that often when we have a headache, people say drink a glass of water and it will go away. And now what do minerals do? For example, with this headache, just to explain it to you briefly. Well, headaches come in 99.99% of cases from our digestive system, specifically from our intestines. And when it comes to minerals, minerals help regulate the acid-base balance in our body. It's thanks to minerals that we produce stomach acids. It's thanks to minerals that the pancreas is able to produce insulin, and it's thanks to minerals that this gland can produce many enzymes that go directly into the blood, that go directly into the duodenum, into our system, both this way and that. So it's also thanks to minerals that we maintain balance, it's thanks to minerals that we build muscle mass, it's thanks to minerals that we are able to do so many things in our bodies. And it's not us, it's our bodies themselves automatically, because they have evolved over millions of years before we became the perfect beings we are today. We just mustn't interfere with them and need to provide everything that's necessary. That's just a brief overview, but I will keep referring back to these very mechanisms. And here I would like to tell you about a certain mechanism whose task is to supply minerals and at the same time cleanse us of those elements, of heavy metals, of those toxins that we take in through breathing, drinking and eating, all at the same time, that is, just in time. Take a look and I will tell you about how Lawapure works and what a huge role Lawapure plays nowadays, precisely because here and now, at this very moment, it binds toxins, and in the place where it has bound those toxins, it releases ions that have been locked away for millions of years, minerals, trace elements, and those essential components that we do not supply and that are no longer directly present in our food today. That is why it is called grey gold. By eminent scientists, by the very people who originally discovered it. Indeed, many distinguished doctors now call it the profound revolution of the 21st century, and a truly essential tool for effectively dealing with the complex and challenging diseases of this modern 21st century. What is often the reason that we are weak? Well, it's that we have a neglected digestive system. Look, here in the photo, you can see a healthy, beautiful, thick intestine. And if someone has their intestine in such a condition, they are definitely able to absorb vitamins from food, to absorb minerals from food. It's much easier for this body to capture those valuable things it needs. However, look at what most intestines look like today. Well, here we are dealing with the same thing in the large intestine, where a person consumes a lot of bread, dairy products, yogurts, and various types of milk with less than 3.7% fat, filtered coffee, sweet pastries, and cheeses. At this point, we are no longer able to absorb those minerals and vitamins. We then experience stomach pains and abdominal pain, bloating, a general feeling of discomfort, and often alternating constipation, sometimes loose stools, sometimes diarrhea, and the overall quality of life is no longer, so to speak, what we would expect it to be. And now let's look at another intestine where a lot of grains are consumed, where there's bread, flour, dumplings, noodles. This causes the intestine to become, on the inside, from all those intestinal deposits. And in this case, such a body is unable to absorb anything from that food. Here we have an example of a person who suffers from chronic constipation, and this is a 45-year-old woman who unfortunately already has breast cancer. We make many mistakes unconsciously from a very young age. From a very young age, because no one ever told us. Look, today there are debates and discussions about introducing lessons on health education. Now the question is, who will be the one to teach this health education? Who will be the one to talk about it? I believe it is absolutely necessary. It should be as important as math, as Polish language, as history, because healthy bodies learn more easily. It's healthy bodies that achieve more success, whether in sports, later in life, in professional life, or whatever we choose to call it. It's a shame that today this has been introduced in the form of extra hours for students and parents, and that young people have to pay for it with additional hours, either by getting up earlier or by staying at school longer. It's a pity that it looks like this, but ladies and gentlemen, it's very important that we start educating our children at home, that we prepare them for how we should eat meals, what kind of meals we should eat, how we should eat, when we eat sweets. Do we eat them before a meal or after a meal? And if after a meal, then how much time should pass after eating the main meal? And nowadays it's become common to eat a sweet dessert. How come? You've had your lunch and you're not going to eat dessert? How come? Grandma made a cake here, uncle made some jelly over there, someone else brought something sweet, and here, have a cookie. Ladies and gentlemen, the body hasn't even had a chance to start digesting what we've just given it as the main meal, and we're already giving it sugar, and our bodies are lazy and will more readily reach for that sugar, while what we ate as our main meal gets set aside, and unfortunately, that meal doesn't end up being digested as thoroughly as it should be. And then, once, twice, 5 times, 10 times, 100 times, month after month, year after year, 2, 3, 5 years go by, and problems start to appear. We don't know why we're gaining weight, why there's a yo-yo effect, and so on and so on. Precisely because of the unconscious mistakes we make as a result of certain habits or certain preferences. What are the consequences, ladies and gentlemen? Many people don't have the strength to get up in the morning, they feel unrested, they feel weak, and during the day they just don't have the energy to act. And you surely meet such people, or maybe you also experience this every day, and is it worth doing something about it? Is it worth preventing it? Yes, that's why you're here today, that's why we're talking about this topic today, and today I'll give you a few solutions in this direction. Let's see what the medical strategy is when it comes to being weak, not getting enough sleep at night. Well, someone has a problem with sleep. It's sleeping pills. If someone has too much sugar in their blood, then insulin needs to be administered. If someone has reflux, then neutralizing products need to be given, acidification, which also later leads to many other complications, because if we read the leaflet, we can see what happens with these effects. The adverse effects when using a given medication. Ladies and gentlemen, just to be clear, I am not against medicine, quite the opposite. In fact, I like and love to cooperate with academic medicine, with conscious doctors who understand today's situation, who know that no pill can replace physical activity, and no pill can replace healthy eating. We all know left and right that it is through poor nutrition itself. We lead our bodies to diseases and to many problems, and yet we think that it doesn't concern us, that nothing will happen to us. And once again, it depends on us when we realize that we only have one life and one health. And someone once said something nice, that our life consists of 2 parts. The first life, the second life begins the moment we realize that we only have one life. And it really makes you think, because it's truly worth reflecting on. And look what happens when we stop taking medication. The symptoms of illness return. And is that really our goal, to look like this in old age? Or maybe it's better to look like these two ladies here in the photo. One of these ladies, and both are over 80 years old. Maybe one of these ladies realized that she only has health and life once and should pay attention to something. Maybe there were other factors along the way. I'm sure many of us, if we looked at this photo, would say, yes, I'd like to look like the lady on the right. This is understandable. Now I would like to introduce Dr. Ilse Treibenig, who said, Dr. Ilse Treibenig, why doctor? Because as a surgical oncologist, she has saved over 2,000 people where academic medicine had practically given up. And she said that the scalpel is not the solution for everything, of course, not in all cases, but even though she put the scalpel aside, she was still able to save lives. Over 2,000 people in 10 years, using an exceptional product that I wanted to tell you about today, whose purpose is to regenerate and repair our digestive system, which is truly where everything begins. It all starts with the quality of our intestines, and she said that cleansing has become a necessity in today's world. This exceptional aid comes 100% from nature because we are dealing with a raw material called clinoptilolite, zeolite. Behind me you can also see the stone, and here I'd like to show you, it looks like a grey turquoise material. And it was formed several tens of millions of years ago, precisely through volcanic lava that combined with water, in which essential minerals were carefully enclosed in their ionic form. These precious water molecules and their contained minerals have remarkably survived completely unchanged to this very day, in a way that effectively prevented any oxidation or destruction by harmful UV radiation, that is to say, direct sunlight. And this is exactly what we lack in our food today, these nutrients. From the earth, from the interior of our planet, meaning these minerals, this is exactly what this material looks like. Inside it, sealed within its pores, are microchannels that contain those valuable minerals, trace elements, and other substances that are essential for life on our planet. However, we need to realize one thing: there are many different types of zeolites. 70% of our planet consists of silicates. Zeolite also belongs to the group of silicates. However, there are many types of zeolites, and not all of them are suitable for use. Also, those that you can buy in various pharmacies or stores, remember, they should only be used for a limited period of time. Today, I would like to show you the difference between zeolites, where the difference is very significant, an enormous difference that allows us to supply minerals thanks to zeolites, rather than depleting our bodies of the resources we already have. But before we get to that, I'd like to briefly explain how this process works. First, you need to obtain the raw material itself, meaning you have to dig it out, extract it very carefully, because a highly absorbent material like zeolite soaks up everything around it. Exhaust fumes, various types of oils, contaminants, which is why the extraction method itself is extremely important. Then processing is very important, and finally there are tests, research, and laboratories that examine it. In terms of purity, composition, and properties, let me also tell you something here regarding the digging and extraction itself. Out of a substantial quantity of 500 tons, only a very small and limited portion is actually utilized for its intended purpose. From the initial extraction of 500 tons of raw material, merely a minuscule amount of this valuable material is subsequently transported and prepared for further, more extensive processing stages. And such. I once read in a comprehensive report that numerous competitors from all around the world would genuinely dream of having direct access to the valuable waste materials that the esteemed Lawa White company consistently leaves behind, a truly remarkable and significant resource. During extraction, just to be able to access even what Lawa White hasn't used. So here I'm talking about the very quality of this product. And ladies and gentlemen, this is what ultimately determines the properties of this material. This symbol you see here on the right, that's the symbol that explains why Lawa Pure is so unique compared to other zeolites in the world. Precisely because we are the only ones who have applied additional processing of this resonance, or rather these frequencies, these vibrations, to restore to these minerals the properties they had before processing. That's a very brief summary, but now I'll tell you a bit more about this topic. Only after all this intricate and meticulous process do we truly obtain what is precisely called the stone of life, which is the very essence we are fundamentally made of, and which profoundly provides us with so many essential minerals and the perfect intricate composition our bodies absolutely need to be able to efficiently produce various vital enzymes. Our human bodies are truly like sophisticated biochemical factories, and that's precisely why they must always have these crucial minerals readily available at all times. And now, Lava Pure itself, ladies and gentlemen, is a medical product. 1 gram of this product, this medical device, equals 1,000 square meters of surface area. So 1 gram of this powder is like having 1,000 square meters of surface area. That's about 3 or 4 tennis courts. And look, this is how it spreads out in our intestines, how much it increases the surface area that interacts with what's in our bodies and with what is still happening on the surface of the intestines. Our intestines have a surface area of 350 to 500 square meters, and we increase that even more by using Lava Pure. So take a look at how unique this product is. And it also has a detoxifying effect. Why is that? Because by settling on the walls of the intestine, it works by binding what we wouldn't want to enter our bloodstream, but also the other way around, from the bloodstream as well. It binds all those things that are harmful to us. Why does this happen? So someone might say, well, then please tell me, yes, why is it so intelligent that it knows how to remove what's bad and leave what's good? Well, yes, ladies and gentlemen, because in our bodies, many things happen based on the difference in potentials. And what we need has a negative charge, while what we don't need has a positive charge. And it's precisely because of this processing, this refinement that I mentioned to you, we further increase this level of potential difference, which is why Lava Pure attracts with even greater force what is unfavorable, what we don't need in our bloodstream and intestines, and with much greater ease releases what has been locked away for millions of years, what our body is waiting for, namely trace elements, micro and macro elements, without which life would not exist. That's why, in short, I told you about these minerals, their synergy and their effects. And now this synergy of action is very important because we are not able to supply our body with them otherwise. We can't provide minerals individually from one source, from another, from a third. Once one of the outstanding scientists working with Masaru Emoto compared it to music, to playing instruments. He compared it to each mineral being like an instrument, like an artist playing an instrument. And if the minerals come from a single origin and are guided, directed by one main so-called, he called it the conductor, he called silicon the conductor of minerals, because it's silicon that conducts these minerals. It determines how they should be distributed in our body. That's why silicon is called the mineral of life. And since Lava Pure itself consists primarily of silicon, and within the silicon, in these silicon structures, the minerals and trace elements have been locked away for millions of years, that's why, by forming together and existing for those millions of years, the orchestra of life was created, which plays on the same frequencies. And that's precisely why this meticulous refinement, achieved through the careful and deliberate removal of that specific yellow sun from this particular light, because a very special light at certain precise frequencies is intentionally used, has profoundly led these remarkable minerals to such a highly bioavailable form, indeed a truly bioavailable state that the human body is eagerly waiting for and readily anticipates. Just as it is in plants, just as it is in the soil, where plants absorb it through their roots from the ground, this has been prepared in the same way so that it can reach our bodies much more simply and easily. And that's exactly how it works. It delivers the good to our bodies and the bad. It removes it from the body along with our waste within 24 hours. And this is the whole. Here you can see the entire cycle, the inflow and outflow, and everything that happens in between. That is the release and liberation of these elements from their structures, and on the other hand, the binding and removal of harmful substances, toxins, and heavy metals from our bodies within 24 hours. What does this cause? Ladies and gentlemen, it means that we become much more resistant to pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides used in agriculture. Even if something ends up in meat, in food, or if heavy metals and toxins are present in water or radioactive elements, which often end up in mushrooms. Now, the mushroom season is starting. Even what has accumulated in our tissues and in our bodies, and later is passed on through the purest food in the world, which is breast milk. In Canada, it was discovered that there are about 300 different types of toxins in it. Ladies and gentlemen, with cosmetics, we introduce and deliver a huge amount. Everything we put on our skin penetrates into the bloodstream. Amalgam fillings have also delivered a lot of mercury, of lead, and many other toxic substances. Various types of preparations and toxic agents that are used for hardening, for speeding up drying. Paints, varnishes, which we use in construction, also end up in the structure in our bodies. Ubiquitous plastic and electromagnetic smog. And here, silicon is a great ally for us. The huge amounts of silicon contained in Lava Pure, which help us strengthen and prepare our bodies, among other things. This is the effect of electromagnetic smog, and we become immune to it. Lava Pure, first of all, it strengthens and cleanses our intestines, provides minerals. Thanks to this, we immediately feel lightness in the stomach, lightness in the belly. Our bodies become so much lighter. After a few days, we feel more energy, we sleep better, and our bodies function completely differently. And the goal of all this is to bring our intestines to a state where we can really handle anything. Eat, so that we can once again eat a little bit of everything without feeling discomfort, pain, or anything upsetting us. Because if our digestive system is healthy and functioning well, believe me, even if we eat something not fresh or something that's not good for us, the body will handle it just fine. For example, by quickly and efficiently eliminating it from the body, or by causing us to experience a sudden and forceful expulsion of stomach contents through vomiting, or to suffer from severe and persistent diarrhea, which are all natural defense mechanisms. Diarrhea is the result of the body recognizing something as too harmful, too dangerous, or too toxic for us, so it tries to get rid of it quickly so we can eliminate it. And that's why it's so important for our digestive system to function properly. Suddenly, in all of this, it turns out that we've found a solution for modern times and for what surrounds us. All the things I've talked to you about are supported by many years of clinical research, scientific studies, and are described in the brochure. A special brochure is available to all of you who are involved in medicine or would like to delve deeper into the information about the basis, the studies conducted, and by whom. Everything is described in this brochure. I'd also like to briefly show you how, without minerals, our bodies simply do not function properly. And we know from history that on ships, when they got lost somewhere or crossed oceans, scurvy would appear. As a result of the lack of vitamins, people were weakened, but they survived. However, let's remember one thing. Without minerals, our human body can still function to some extent, but it functions poorly. But without minerals, a person dies. And that's why it's so important to remember that the nutritional value of everything we eat comes from the minerals contained in the cells of the products we consume. In the cells of the products, let me remind you once again that every cell on our planet functions according to the same principle. Influx, outflow, and everything that happens inside it, this is the balance of flow, meaning a cell must have unlimited access to oxygen, to nutrients, and it must have the freedom to remove what is no longer needed as a result of metabolism. And we could go on analyzing these tables for a long time here. For example, I would like to show you the harm some people do to themselves by supplying their bodies with single minerals or single vitamins. That's why we should leave this to doctors, leave it to those who know what they're doing, who are able to monitor our blood, monitor our health condition. Certainly, administering minerals alone is considered. Here I'll refer to the words of Peter Winkler as a medication that, in order to work, here we have vitamin E highlighted. In order for it to function properly, we need vitamins. A, B6, C, vitamins B12, B1, B5, B3, B10, D, sodium, calcium. We have iron, magnesium, zinc, etc., selenium. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go further. Once again, we are dealing here with minerals, but I would like to show you, for example, some other things. Here, the thyroid, what does it need? B6, selenium and iodine. And now, without B6, how are we supposed to deliver that selenium and iodine? And what if we provide selenium and iodine alone? Well, it's not possible. In nature, you don't find selenium or iodine alone. They have to be delivered in certain combinations, and that's when it makes sense. It's another example, tomatoes, a vegetable familiar to everyone in Europe. A vegetable, rich in many minerals and vitamins. Among the vitamins, there is vitamin C, vitamin A in the form of beta carotene, vitamin K, B vitamins, B1, B2, B6, folic acid, as well as vitamin E. As for minerals, tomatoes contain potassium, iron, magnesium, calcium, zinc, manganese, copper, chromium, and more. And now let me take, for example, ladies and gentlemen, folic acid. And let's take the formula. Look, what is this? C19H19N706. Nothing but minerals. That's why every enzyme, everything, every digestive juice, every gastric juice, every insulin, whether it's produced by the pancreas or by us, everything requires minerals to be produced. Thanks to this, we are then able to absorb vitamins. The periodic table, on the basis of which life was created, or thanks to which, thanks to the discovery of minerals, life came into being. Not thanks to the periodic table itself, just to be clear, ladies and gentlemen, but it is described very precisely in this periodic table of elements. Yes, all right, that's it. We'll be wrapping up soon. Ladies and gentlemen, refinement. I'd like to say a few more words about refinement. As I mentioned before, despite careful production and extraction during the processing itself, there is damage and alteration of those original vibrations. So now the point is to restore those original vibrations through this process of natural resonance and re-establishing those vibrations. And this is what sets feather lava apart from other products in the world. Thanks to this, the ingredients are, please take a look at this sentence I'm describing here. The ingredients are more bioavailable, which significantly enhances their active properties at the cellular level. This has been impressively proven in scientific studies on cells. There is a very nice video that shows exactly the regeneration of tissue, of our intestine, where it was mechanically separated, and how the improvement and regeneration of these tissues occurs, as well as the regeneration and reconstruction of these cells. This alone is considered a revolution in the health industry. And this is the symbol that characterizes refinement in the lava company. And now, briefly, how can this be explained? Ladies and gentlemen, this can be explained in two ways. Please take a look, we have two flash drives. And what is information? Will the information on one flash drive be the same as on the other? Do you see any difference between these two flash drives? No, you can't see any difference. A flash drive is a flash drive. But does all information work the same way? Will the information stored on one flash drive be the same as on the other? And here, this is exactly where the adventure with Lava Pure begins, where the information that has been transmitted in a unique way allows us to absorb much more of the minerals contained in Lava Pure. And that's why Lava Pure, while maintaining its tremendous ability to cleanse the body, has also retained an enormous capacity to provide us with things we wouldn't get if it weren't for this refinement. Namely, those elements, those minerals and trace elements locked away for millions of years. That's why Lava Pure is exceptional for all those people who suffer from osteoporosis. That's why, thanks to lava, we are able to improve bone mass within the very first year by 7%, which means not only we slow it down, not only stop it, but actually rebuild bone mass while using Lava Pure. And there are studies and documents to prove this, ladies and gentlemen, clinical studies. Now take a look, it's not without reason. I included this slide, and I'm referring to Dr. Masaru Emoto, who was the first to photograph water, where he first took a drop. He placed it on a petri dish, then quickly froze it and took pictures. Take a look at what such a frozen droplet looks like and how water can be photographed. And it's just the tip, only the tip of the droplet is photographed. And look at the crystal that formed. This kind of crystal, as you can see, appears when we don't use Lava Pure. Now I want to show you these two photos. Look at how it looks before refinement and how it looks after refinement. This is the kind of crystal that forms after mixing with Lava Pure. When we enriched this water and refined it with Lava Pure. It's really amazing. This is exactly what the snowflake or the tip of that droplet I told you about looks like. Here's a brief summary of this refinement, ladies and gentlemen. Ordinary zeolite, clinoptilolite products have almost no significant effect on the human body. We're talking here about regular products. Only special quality raw materials and specific preparation create a harmonious resonance between zeolite and the human body. And now, look, thanks to the refinement of lava white, the active ingredient achieves optimal resonance with the cells of the human body. Our cells see it, our body sees it. That's why this ionic form, which is a few thousand times smaller than our cell, goes exactly where it should, right into the interior of the cell itself. Walls, ladies and gentlemen, it's thanks to the many years of research and work that have gone into this. Each of us dreams of stopping the aging process, of maintaining a youthful appearance for as long as possible, of having strength and health for as long as possible. I think today I have provided you with some information on this topic and you will use it in a way that suits you best. Take a look. The very process of refinement. Now, on a product like a cream, look at how it works on a product like Vita Intense. So these are a collection of vitamins that is also carefully and specially prepared so that it doesn't oxidize. Yes, Vita Energy has such a crystal. VitaCell, look, this is the chlorella after refinement, and what a huge difference it makes. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have the entire Vita series and the entire Lava series at our disposal. Also, in the Lava series, we have Lava Dental, which is a toothpaste, Lava Pure in capsule form, 400 grams powder and 200 grams powder. We have Lava Glow, which is a cream for women, additionally combined with colloidal gold for enhanced delivery. Thanks to the colloidal gold, it penetrates deep, reaching into the deeper layers of our skin so that the colloidal gold can deliver the minerals contained within. And then there's Lava Cream, which I'm also a fan of, and I love this cream because it accompanies me on every trip. I use it every day for shaving and in case of any scrapes or burns. I always use this cream and rely on it. Vita Intense, loved by children, loved by adults. As I already mentioned, this special set ensures that we proudly provide a truly complete and comprehensive set of essential minerals for absolutely everyone, at literally any age or stage of life. Additionally, with the beneficial and potent addition of both aloe and aronia, it most certainly and effectively does its intended job exceptionally well. Let me tell you, I use this because I also said I would say a few words regarding diabetes. So I also frequently use this particular product among individuals who are living with diabetes and in combination with the highly effective Lava Pure and the energizing Vita Energy. We manage to effectively regulate blood sugar quite well, while also providing more significant strength and sustained energy to those individuals who truly need it. And here, Vita is truly an exceptional and remarkable product, which contains a significant amount of spermidine, a vital substance that effectively induces our body's cells into a crucial state of autophagy, meaning an essential intracellular recycling process, which profoundly strengthens the cells themselves, especially those particular cells that are already, to some noticeable extent, damaged or weak. We also actively accelerate the natural process of apoptosis and the beneficial nourishment of the surrounding cells nearby. Also, spermidine itself, there's a lot of information you can find about it online. Regarding autophagy and its application, autophagy is triggered in the body when we fast for at least 16 hours. With fasting, but thanks to this product, we don't have to suffer as much. We don't have to push our bodies into that state as often. Let me put it this way. It's great that intermittent fasting is being used now, that we practice fasting, but some people actually harm themselves with fasting because their bodies are already malnourished. Just because someone is overweight doesn't mean their body is well nourished. And here we often end up causing metabolic disorders by improperly following a diet or by improperly practicing fasting. And often those people who did it incorrectly can see the effect. The notorious yo-yo effect often comes back even faster, so it's truly worth thinking it through carefully and doing it wisely. So this product is also unique. It also undergoes this process of refinement. Vitagen is, so to speak, essentially a unique combination of 4 specific amino acids, carefully designed to effectively trigger a vital process within our body: the production of collagen. We know what collagen is needed for. We know how essential it is for tendons, muscles, skin, for our body to maintain elasticity and youthfulness. And I also encourage you to try such a treatment. Twice a year, 2 cycles of this Vitagen each time. That's when we get the best results. All of this, of course, combined with LavaPure, because LavaPure is the foundation of all these products that were created following LavaPure. And what products do we have in this series? Lava. Lava, meaning Lava Pure Powder, Lava Pure Capsules, Lava Dental, Lava Glow, which is this cream, Lava Cream, and Lava Bath. Very nice. Now, these cold days, chilly, are coming more and more often. It's worth taking such a bath, immersing yourself in this wonderfully gentle, incredibly soft water, where you simply add 2 generous scoops of this amazing lava bath and then just completely relax and truly enjoy it. One of the scientists who worked on this here compared it to immersing yourself in amniotic fluid, just like when a fetus develops, that it's so nourishing and the water takes on completely different properties. That's why it's good to soak for at least an hour in such a warm bath, take a book to read, or play some nice, pleasant music, and immerse yourself in this warm water with the lava bath dissolved in it. I personally use it after tough workouts or longer matches. And then there's Lava Dental. Let me tell you, and here I'd like to give a warning. Once you try brushing your teeth with this, Lava Dental, you won't want to use any other toothpaste afterwards. There's something so special about this toothpaste that we actually look forward to brushing our teeth after breakfast or in the evening before going to bed. An incredible feeling of freshness after using it. Lava Glow, as I mentioned before, is great for ladies who like to take special care of their skin, especially sensitive areas, like on the face. It's really nice. And there's also Lava Clean Up. These are complete slimming programs for those who are looking for something more, a combination like that. There's also Shape Up, which is a program spread over 50 days, very effective and truly transformative in our lives, not just physically, but also mentally and spiritually. And the last products that have appeared are not Lava, but Vita Probio and Vita Symbio. These are strains of bacteria that further strengthen the functioning and regeneration of our intestines, improving the bacterial flora. Above all, and especially for those people who, for various reasons, they got poisoned somewhere or were on vacation, traveling, and experienced severe food poisoning. Many people in Egypt or returning from Egypt also have, so to speak, an irritated gut flora. For many people who have used antibiotics or need to take an antibiotic, we can really rebuild and regenerate the bacterial flora very quickly. In our digestive system, that's why these 3 products combined give a brilliant effect. And I have to let you in on a secret because I spoke with Peter Winkler. Peter, next week on Wednesday, he will tell us a bit more about the use of these products and what interesting things he has discovered specifically about what Lava Vita Symbio and Vita Probio contain. Also Vita Green, which is a blend of green things, green ingredients. It was designed this way, combined so that we feel energy, strength, but also regeneration in our digestive system, a sense of lightness, energy, and strength. So it's a great cocktail for those who are going to train, a super cocktail for those who they come back from training and want to regain their energy and strength because it turns out there's still something to do, or maybe they need to take the kids somewhere in the evening. So it's really nice to have a drink. I usually use it in the morning, right after my breakfast, or perhaps between lunch, or even after breakfast again, especially when I'm preparing to do some sports or simply desire a little extra boost of energy. More energy, Ladies and gentlemen, I am not able to share everything with you today, all the information about these products. However, it's very important for us to understand one thing, that health and life, first of all, that health and life are in our hands, and every bit of knowledge we acquire, whether it's at our meetings or meetings in other places with other people or with other products, it's important that we have this knowledge and it's important that we use it. I see that many people call me and say, Mr. Marek, thank you so much for Lava Pure because it's a product that's compatible with practically everything in the world. You can combine it with any product, and that's wonderful because we supply minerals, cleanse our bodies, make room for new things, and then all the other products start to work much better, much more effectively. So it's wonderful that it can be combined. That's why I encourage you to join this network of actions for a healthier world, where the most important element for us is the human being as the most important entity in all of this. So join our team, the team of people who use Lava Pure, because then you will be able to say for yourself, yes, I tried it, I used it, I felt the effects. I can recommend it to others, I can use it for myself and for my family. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we live in times when we need to check everything, and I understand that because we have a lot to lose, because we have our health and the health of our loved ones. And that's why I have a request. Check everything I said today, check it on the internet, check what Lava Pure really is, what the company Lava Vita is, and what is so special about this company. And I think that, and I understand that for everyone, check it, and then you'll be 100% sure. That's all from my side. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for today's meeting, for the time we spent together. And it's great that you're here. It's great that we can do something together, take action for a healthier and better world, for our environment, for all of us, because each of us has children, grandchildren, loved ones, and it's painful when they pass away. And that's why, if there's anything more we can do to keep them with us, even for a few more years or maybe a dozen more, that's a beautiful thing. So that we never have any regrets, that we knew something but didn't apply it, that we knew but didn't say anything. If you've tried this yourself, share the news, share this information with others, because there's nothing more beautiful than helping others with something that's proven and something that works.